General James Wilkerson was convicted by a jury, a military jury, of sexual assault. He was sentenced to dismissal, forfeiture of pay, and 1 year in jail. And with a stroke of a pen last week, a general dismissed those charges against him. My heart is beating fast right now. I am so upset about this. I question now whether that unit that that man returns to, whether there's any chance a woman who is sexually assaulted in that unit would ever say a word. Because what that general just said is that jury's decision didn't matter.
All right, welcome back to Morning Joe. That was Senator Claire McCaskill last week calling on the Pentagon to explain why an Air Force general was able to overturn a sexual assault conviction. And Senator Claire McCaskill joins us now from Washington. Mark Halperin, Mike Barnacle, and Lee Gallagher are all back with us. Senator, great to see you. We're gonna talk budgets in just a minute, but what's happened since your testimony then? That was pretty gripping, and that's pretty stunning stuff you were talking about.
Well, I've been working on this, as have some of my colleagues, for a number of years, and I want to make sure that we look at the rules of military justice and address what appears to be an outlier, but nonetheless completely unacceptable. And that is the notion that after a jury trial, a commander can, without even having a reason, I memean, the rules actually say, for any reason or no reason at all, can overturn a jury's conviction. I think we need to take a look at that. I spent a couple hours at the Pentagon yesterday working on this. I've got a meeting today with the General of the Air Force, General Welsh, in my office. And then we have a hearing all day tomorrow on this topic. And I'm going to stay at this until we hopefully get a piece of justice for a whole lot of women out there that, frankly, many of whom are just afraid to even come forward because of the way this crime has traditionally been treated within the military.
Do you think Secretary Hagel will make any difference here?
Well, in fact, I questioned Secretary Panetta about this when he was confirmed. And I will say, I was with some great prosecutors at the Pentagon yesterday. I think the Army is really on this. They're trying to turn around this culture, be much more aggressive about this crime. I want to make sure that this is true across all the branches and that we look at the rules in the UCMJ, which is the code for military justice, and make sense around this crime.
So, I mean, it's shocking, I'm sure, to a lot of Americans watching this morning that you can have somebody convicted of a crime or charged with a crime. You go through all of the evidentiary hearings. You can go through the trial itself. You can go through closing. You can turn it over to the jury. The jury can go back. They can deliberate. They can come back out after long deliberations on determining the fate of somebody's life. They can come down with a ruling, and then a general can just overturn it with a signature for no reason at all. What do you hear the justification of that to be in the Pentagon?
Well, traditionally, the convening authority is what it's called, and it's the commander of the unit, has had complete control at every step of the process. And obviously, this is for the good and discipline of the unit. But this clearly is jarring, and it offends all of our sense of what's right in this country about our rule of law, and that's why we've got to take a hard look at it. And there's a whole lot of issues around this we need to look at, and I think the hearing tomorrow will be very important. A number of us plan on camping out for the day at this hearing and trying to see if we can't really get after this in many ways. Not just are we going after these cases, but what kind of environment are we creating for women that allow them to come forward with this kind of crime?
While we're talking about